In a game, I think Arizona played their worst half all season. They still beat a good team by 20 plus. What to make of it? The good, the bad, the ugly, and just how good are the Wildcats if they can play this poorly and still look infallible at times. We'll touch on all of that in postcast.
You are Locked On Wildcats, your daily podcast on the Arizona Wildcats. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Balls? Another Arizona win, 11-0. Not easy to do. We saw teams that we thought would win today lose. We saw St. John's blow a double-digit lead. We saw Duke lose a 17-point lead. Arizona looked bad. The first half was terrible, and they won by 23. Like, there's levels to these things, and there's a reason we're a little bit starting on a negative note, because usually there's been such amazing things happening at the end of games and against high quality opponents, or just running them out of the gym. In this case, it was nothing pretty to begin with, and the second half was a demolition. So I got a bunch of takeaways for you. The first one being this: Koa Pete hardly playing, tons of turnovers, poor shooting, tons of fouls, silly mistakes, but defense kept Arizona in it. Going into half, they built momentum and actually had a lead. From that point onward, I knew Arizona was going to win by double digits. Arizona went 9-25, 1-10 from 3, shooting 10 threes as opposed to just 15 twos. Like, not a good formula. 10 turnovers and 0 points off of turnovers forced by Arizona, committed by San Diego State. And Arizona led by 1. So there's two sides. One, that meant San Diego State dictated everything for 18 of the 20 minutes of the first half. 2, Arizona was able to survive based on their fantastic defense. The defense is superb. The defense is fantastic. The first half, the defense was good. The second half, it was special. So let's touch on that second half defense. In the second half, San Diego State shot 25% from the field, making 0 threes. And that's a team who's top 50 in Ken Palm offense. Not elite, but certainly not shabby. And Arizona stifled them is like too trivial of a term. What they did was dominated them defensively. And then the offense, when it showed up, you knew it was going to be enough to not only be a win, but be a demolition because of how good the defense was. This is a tale of two halves. The defense was a constant. The rebounding a constant. But the offense arrived, and look at this defense when the offense is playing well. It's like a perfect confluence of events. So you look at that second half, Arizona wasn't particularly good in the second half. 13 of 33 is fine, but it's not what usually is a good half offensively for Arizona. Like, San Diego State defended very well. They did a good job with tempo. But in the second half, Arizona had 30 rebounds as opposed to San Diego State's 12. They had 12 offensive rebounds, and those 12 offensive rebounds led to just 7 points. That actually shocks me a little bit in the second half alone. In total, Arizona's defense is the story. They held San Diego State in both halves to 26% shooting. They held San Diego State to just 1 3-pointer. And Arizona got 52 rebounds. Defense and rebounding are the constants. I talked about this at the beginning of the season. Like, this is a team that I expect to be top 10 in offense. And I still think they will be. But I'll say you watch this team, and it's clear defense is the stronger side of the ball. Because Arizona gets what they like repeatedly by getting downhill and throwing high lows and stuff like that. But if a team commits to doubling the way San Diego State did, you got to beat them with the 3. Casey Jacobson made the point, like, sometimes you just don't have it from deep. Arizona doesn't need it to win, and I don't know if they even need it to win at the highest level, because they beat Florida making 2 threes. They beat UConn without production from 3. I don't think they need it from 3, but what they do need is the offensive rebounding. And because they're so good offensive rebounding, their offensive identity is still a good one, even when they're not shooting it particularly well from 2. So when they shoot 38% like they did in this one, but you get that many offensive rebounds, you get enough chances, and you win. The identity is defense and offensive rebounding. The offense will be better. There'll be days they shoot well, and Arizona will look unbeatable. There'll be days where Arizona doesn't miss the first chances, like last time out, and they shot 70% from the field, more or less, and they'll look unbeatable. The defense is the constant for Arizona. That is my main takeaway for you guys. Like I said, tale of two halves. First half sped up, 9 of 25 from the field, 1 of 10 from 3, 10 turnovers, 0 points off of turnovers, a lot conceded off of turnovers, and 10 or 11 points from the free throw line given up. And my last takeaway before I get into revisiting the keys and just overarching takes that I will go through the entire season, my last takeaway I think is a really important one. Every good team has bad days. And I would constitute this as a bad day for Arizona. I don't think Tommy Lloyd's going to be pleased. He'll be pleased with the resolve. He'll be pleased with the resiliency. He'll be pleased with the ability to overcome the struggles offensively and turn to their strength defensively and rebounding. That's all good. But every team has bad days. It's how you survive them. It's how you power through those games and win. Arizona has enough guys to survive a bad day from stars. Koa Pete wasn't good. Jaden Bradley wasn't good. And there were a lot of issues early in the game. I thought Krivas was a little sloppy at the beginning of the game. I thought Burry shot some bad shots. But the point is, I just named 4 players for the word stars. I didn't talk about the stars of the day because Duke, for instance, this is the best example. I'm not trying to refer to them, but Duke has a star, and I think he's the best player in college basketball in Cam Boozer. Cam Boozer was great today against Texas Tech. He was, until the very end of the game, the only player in double digits for a top 3 team in the nation, and they lost. They blew a 17-point lead. It's because they're so dependent. If he doesn't play very well, they have no chance. Koa Pete, for 17 minutes, didn't play, and Arizona looked really bad, and they came into the half up 1 because their depth, their top 8 is spectacular. You turn to the seniors. Tobe Awaka had 15 rebounds. He's the best rebounder in the country. To look at some of your guys' comments, I'm not ignoring them. But Tobe Awaka, impact-wise, is great every night. But this is a game where his impact is larger because his physicality can overwhelm a team and become the team's mood and identity on a day. It was, look, we're going to work harder than you. We're going to get rebounds and beat you up. And we're going to be better at what you do well and muck up a game, but we're better, bigger, stronger, and we have Tobe Awaka and you don't. Tobe Awaka, Jaden Bradley, and Anthony Del Orso came up big at different ways and different moments in this one. Tobe is the star of the show, and that's the 6th man for Arizona. The star doesn't have to deliver every night for Arizona because there's enough depth to maintain. But because they have that depth, there are going to be bad days, but I believe more in the team's ability to get through those bad days, as opposed to a team that is very heavily dependent on a singular player. A very random example that popped into my head is Michigan State of 2016. Denzel Valentine was awesome. He was an All-American. He was one of my favorite players that year. You watched them play, and I thought, well, maybe they can win a championship. They're a 2 seed. They go play the 15 Middle Tennessee State, and all of a sudden, Denzel Valentine gets in foul trouble, and he struggles. Koa Pete gets in foul trouble, and Arizona had Jaden Bradley get in foul trouble, and they blew out Alabama by 20. Koa Pete gets in foul trouble after having a strong start against San Diego State, who's a very defensively talented and connected team, and Arizona beats them by 20. There's levels to this. Arizona's depth is their greatest strength. And this had the makings of a game, not where you overlook San Diego State because they're good. There were 6 big non-conference games. There was big games that had more prestige than this one, but San Diego State was not to be taken lightly because they played in a championship 2 years ago. But the Florida game, of course, had more prestige. UConn, UCLA, Alabama, Auburn. This was the 6th of 6. And now you go play 2 more, and I believe Arizona will go undefeated in non-conference play, which is no one's expectation. I was as high as anyone, and I thought the best Arizona could do was go 11-2, 12-1. And here we are, 11-0 right now, likely to go 13-0 heading into conference play. The Cats are for real. Even when they play badly, they win by 20. We'll touch on the keys I gave out for this game, revisit which ones went well, talk about the box score, what stood out, and much, much more coming up next on Locked On Wildcats Postcast. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. live betting is the best when the game starts to shift. So, for instance, when Tobe Awaka came into the game in that second half, that's when the game started to shift. You can say Del Orso gets hot, and that's when you start to play those bets. If it's football that you're into, you could say, oh, well, there's a comeback in the midst like the Buffalo Bills had last weekend, and the live spreads and money lines adjust instantly. Player props update as guys heat up. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. And I also want to tell you about Wayfair. The holidays also show up faster than we expect, and they're just around the corner. And if you're still putting together gifts, last minute decor, or getting your home ready for guests, Wayfair has you covered. Whether you need to think through a quick room refresh, new bedding, or those final seasonal touches, Wayfair makes it easy to get what you need and fast. Wayfair truly is your one-stop shop for everything home, with decor, furniture, kitchen essentials, and gifts for every style and budget, all delivered quickly and easily. Their selection is huge: bedding, decor, kitchen gear, kids' rooms, updates. I was able to find everything in one place when furnishing my patio. And it's easy to shop by style. It helps you pick pieces that actually fit your home instead of guessing. So get the last minute hosting essentials, gifts for all your loved ones, and decor to celebrate the holidays for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. All righty, welcome back to the Locked On Wildcats postcast. Leif Thulin with you here. Arizona 11-0. No surprise, the path today a little bit circuitous. You don't necessarily expect Arizona to shoot as poorly as they did. So let me take you through those stats before touching on the keys to the game. The first half, Arizona went 9 of 25 from the field, 1 of 10 from 3. Survived by virtue of playing good defense, holding San Diego State to just 8 of 29 from the field. But like I said, gave up 9 points off of turnovers, conceded 10 turnovers themselves, and won the rebounds by only 6. And while they got offensive rebounds, they only had 7 second chance points in that. And so everything was going poorly except for that final 2-minute surge. And Arizona just stayed close enough. And then once they had that momentum, I felt very, very confident Arizona would win this by double digits because they could not play much worse offensively, and their defense is excellent, and it's looked super sustainable because of the difficulty of field goals attempted by San Diego State. And when they don't foul, Arizona is very difficult to score upon. Tobe Awaka, the star of the show today, 9 points, 15 rebounds. Mo Krivas also did a very good job anchoring the defense. I thought he didn't play particularly well offensively, but anchoring the defense, he's been absolutely vital, and I think he deserves nominations for being the best defender in the country and the conference, even though JoJo Tugler is in both the country and the conference. So that's the one half. Now you go to the second half. Arizona, of course, did a great job outscoring San Diego State by 22 in the second half. They did not shoot particularly well, 13 of 33, and then shot 5 of 15 from 3. Free throws, they got to the line at a similar rate, 9 of 15 at the line. But the dominance on the glass became so pronounced, this game shifted. 30 rebounds to 12, 18 defensive rebounds by Arizona, 12 offensive, and then they had 18 bench points in the second half alone. And the points in the paint, they were hard to come by many times in this game, but Arizona started to get good shots. And even though they didn't necessarily get downhill and score super easily, they were able to put pressure on the rim. So Arizona wins this game. We're not surprised. The route to get there, not as great. Offense, not a good game. However, you take a win. Surviving a bad game is the name of the game. So surviving and advancing is the name of the game when you're looking at resumes like this. When Arizona is 11-0 right now, likely 13-0 through conference play, and then you head into the Big 12 and have a chance to open up with 7 inferior opponents, and you can start 20-0, which is a very real possibility. And I'm not saying, okay, undefeated, like let's not get too ahead of our skis, but Arizona's got a chance to do something really special. And these type of games mean a lot when Duke, a potential 1 seed, falls in a similar situation. And Arizona on defense, thank you for Lost Highway in the chat, saying 2 on KenPom, number 2 overall, and the defense is up to 2 as well. So for those of you with me every day, thank you, the everydayers. I talk about the defense all the time. I thought this defense would be top 20. I told Ryan Hammer, man, I bet this defense is going to be top 20 just because I think they're huge. They're really hard to score on. They resemble Duke of last year, where they had the highest height in the nation, and everyone raved about their defense. And I thought there were similarities. I might have been too low on Arizona's defense, up to number 2. And I thought top 20 would be a stretch with the pace Arizona played. But top 10 on offense, top 20 on defense, top 15 rebounding rate, top 15 offensive rebounding, and top 20 tempo is my prediction, and it'd be a 1 seed. So far, most of those so good. Defense even better than I thought. And I think the continuity of this team and the coaching of Tommy Lloyd's grown to make them better than the teams of years past. This is a elite team, the best team since 2014, and it could be even better because that team was the best defense. But I think this team's got more answers on how to score than that team. We'll talk about that in future episodes. Let's talk about the keys to this game and then get back to that thought. So here are the keys I wrote for the preview of this game. And we'll see how Arizona did in achieving these keys. So first key I had was dominate the glass. Well, they did that. And that's not a surprise. I said Arizona rebounds 40% of their misses, and San Diego State concedes 33% of rebounds to the offense. So in Arizona's case, when they miss, they should get rebounds. Well, they did that. And I wanted to see Arizona grab 13 plus offensive rebounds and score 10 to 15 second chance points. So let's see what Arizona got. Offensive rebounds, 20, 14 second chance points. Not as many second chance points as they should have scored with 20. They also won the glass 52 to 28, so plus 24 right there. So check mark there. Funnily enough, San Diego State and their defense over the years have been good about taking away the three, but they're definitely going to make Arizona shoot threes and take away the rim with a good rim protector like Magoon Guath. That was my note. So then I said, what I want to see is Arizona establish the inside early before shooting a bunch of threes, because that's what San Diego State wants. I did not think they did a good job doing this. And I particularly said, I want to see Burries attack downhill before shooting threes. The start of the game, Braden Burries shot a bunch of threes. He got a couple like mid-range jump shots, the leaner, a bank shot, and Burries was 4 of 12, 1 of 6 from 3. I need to look this up at some point, and I need to go through synergy. But Braden Burries does not catch and shoot well. Not well at all. I'd bet he's under 30% as a catch and shoot three-point shooter. He is very good at attacking the rim. Coming into this game, he was shooting 75% on shots within 5 feet. That means he needs to get himself confident by shooting twos to then establish his three. And every game, Arizona sets the same play where they set a little flare screen and Burries shoots a left wing three. Every single game. And he has not hit any of those first time. He's hit on the first possession on second chances before. But his catch and shoot numbers really need to improve, and it could take Arizona to a next level. My point being is I think Arizona settled as a team, and I just single out Burries because that was an observation. But I wanted to see Arizona establish the paint. I talk about paint-oriented points a lot. I usually say 60 is a really good goal to have. Well, Arizona didn't score enough today to really reach that with points in the paint plus free throws. Let's see what they ended up with there. Points in the paint, Arizona ended up with 32, free throws 18. So they scored 50 of their 68 points in the paint. And that's a dependable number, but it's one that Arizona typically would exceed if they shot better. That said, their formula works. On the flip side, I wanted to see Arizona push the tempo and control tempo in this one, but actually San Diego State, I'd say, got the better of the tempo. Like turnover-wise, if you look at the whole game, Arizona only had 1 turnover in the second half, but that first half, 18 of those minutes were controlled by San Diego State. So I'm going to say no on that key. I would say that Arizona did not do a good enough job of forcing turnovers for a team that is prone to committing turnovers. Arizona only forced 8 turnovers in this game, and San Diego State commits 20% of their possessions. They have turnovers, which is about 14 turnovers if there's 70 possessions. Yeah, that's 1/5. Sorry, mental math struggle this late at night. Anyway, 14 turnovers was my goal for this one. Arizona only forced 8, and they didn't get out and score. They only scored 2 points off of turnovers, and this is in a game that was very disruptive and physical. So I would say they didn't get that one. No surprise they didn't achieve all these keys, because my keys, I said, were not only to win this game, but to win by 20. They won by 20, but they didn't do it in a typical style that constitutes winning by 20. So I didn't expect these keys to really hit once I saw this game starting. And then my last key was I wanted to see Arizona take away the three-point line, because San Diego State will try to slow this game down and play really physically, and their best chance to make a lot of threes, because Arizona will overwhelm a team and you can't really beat Arizona at their own game. They're too big and they're too strong. That was true. And Arizona only conceded 1-3. So that was fantastic. Very well done. So they went 2 of 4 in my big keys. Arizona played a team that shoots 41% from 3 and held them to 1 of 14 from 3. So I think that's a mission accomplished. I also said keep particular tabs on BJ Davis, who's their 6-man spark plug. And he had a good first half in terms of like 3 minutes, but he ended up 1 of 12 from the field in a complete non-factor. Well done, Arizona, defensively. Offensively, left a lot to be desired. Coming up next, I'm going to touch on a couple thoughts on the best teams in the country, the defense about Arizona, what room there is still to grow for the Wildcats as they head towards Big 12 play, and my expectations heading into Big 12 play as compared to Houston, as compared to Iowa State, BYU, and those are the best 4 in the conference. Though Texas Tech beat Duke, I think they're fraudulent. We'll touch on the Big 12 and a couple more thoughts on the Wildcats. All that and more right ahead on Locked On Wildcats postcast. Ever feel like your money just disappears each month? It happens fast. A few subscriptions here, an impulse buy there, and suddenly numbers in your bank account do not match the numbers that are in your head. Rocket Money helps you get clarity, track every dollar, and stay in control of your finances. Because managing your money shouldn't be feeling like a second job that you don't need that extra stress. Rocket Money does the heavy lifting for you so you can save more and stress significantly less. Seeing all your spending on one dashboard makes it easier to understand where your money's going. And I like how Rocket Money automatically builds budgets based on my past spending. It keeps you on track without overspending it. So take control of your finances and cancel your unwanted subscriptions with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. Welcome back to Locked On Wildcats. Leif Thulin with you here on Postcast. Arizona won by 23. Wasn't always easy. Like I said, here are my takeaways if people are just joining. Takeaway: Koa Pete, non-factor in the first half due to foul trouble. Tons of turnovers, terrible shooting, tons of fouls, giving them free throws, silly mistakes throughout. Arizona led by 1 at half. That's the sign of a team that can weather just about any storm. If you can play that badly, shoot 9 of 25 from the field, 1 of 10 from 3 with 10 turnovers and 0 points off of turnovers in a half and lead, you're going to win that game because you can't play much worse. And they played significantly better and still left plenty to be desired. The defense, superb, up to number 2 defensively. And I think their defense is better than the offense. And the offense has been top 10 every year under Tommy Lloyd. And I think the offense, when it shows up in a game like that, will demolish another team. Because Arizona can play fast-paced, beat a team like Florida. They can play slow-paced and beat a team like UCLA. They can play an absolute rock fight like this game and overwhelm a team and hold them under 50 points. And most importantly, defense is a constant, rebounding a constant, offense can be iffy, but you have more leeway because of the defense. And three-point shooting, we'll see. How much three-point shooting do you need? That's a big question. That'll be a storyline. I did think this team looked inexperienced at times. I thought that you saw errors from Burries. I thought Karchenkov was a little overzealous at times. Aristotle made a few errors. Koa Pete, foul trouble. I am a little concerned at how little he's getting the ball at the points he's at the best at. And I told you guys last postcast, I'm not concerned about Koa Pete. And I would say I'm still not concerned about Koa Pete. I am concerned about when players like Braden Burries are playing their best. It tends to be when he has the ball in his hands, meaning Burries, and there's less of Koa Pete creating for others, which is kind of what I envisioned. We'll see. That'll be interesting to monitor. And my last takeaway, and this is the most important, every really good team has bad days. Every team in the country has bad days. But the great teams know how to survive them and win those games without terrible sweats. Arizona won this game by 23 and comfortably. And Arizona has enough guys and are not uber reliant on singular players like Koa Pete or Jaden Bradley or whoever it may be. They have enough guys to survive bad days from a team and especially survive bad days from a star because they've got tremendous depth and the best top 8 in the country. Now let's talk about the Big 12 play. Arizona, to me, is the best team in the Big 12. I don't think it's by a vast, vast majority. And that's not a slight at Arizona, because I think Arizona is the best team in the country right now. It's because the Big 12 is great. The Big 12 is the best conference in college basketball. With the exception of Utah, every team is solid. I believe Arizona will be a 1 seed. I think Houston will be a 1 or a 2 seed. I think Iowa State will be a 1 or a 2 seed. And I'd say likely the second and third place teams will both be 2s, but we'll just, we'll stay right there. I think that BYU will be a 2 or a 3. So, in my opinion, there are 4 top 3 seeds in this conference. I think Kansas, if Darren Peterson plays the majority of Big 12 play, will be a 3 or a 4. And I think Baylor will be a solid team as well. Oh, excuse me, I missed Texas Tech. And I think they will be a 4 or a 5. So you have 6 top 5 seeds. So 6 of the top 20 teams in the nation. And in my opinion, 4 of the top 10. So you're really top loaded. Now you get to Baylor, and I think that's the clear 7th best team. And then I think you go to TCU as probably the 8th best team. Now, is there as much depth as some of the other conferences? Probably not. But you have 8 really good basketball teams. And I think it's very difficult to project Arizona to go undefeated in the conference. That said, I was on record early in the season, I believe after the Florida game, the very first game of the season. I said that I think Arizona will be 7-0 to start conference play, and whether that's 11-2 in non-conference or 12-1, I didn't project undefeated. I really wish I had, because I was as high as anyone, but I didn't quite get that right, so I'm a little annoyed at myself. And I'm now on Ken Palm to look at this. It is confirmed. Offensive rating, 8th in the country, 2nd on defense, just conceding 90 points per 100 possessions. That is elite. So then you go to the opening of Big 12 play, and here are the first 7 games. Utah at Utah. Arizona's projected to win by 16. Kansas State, and that one's at McHale, I believe at least. And then there's TCU. That one, Kansas State, Arizona's projected to win by 19. You play TCU, you're projected to win by 10. TCU played Michigan close. They beat Florida. That's a trickier game, and I think Jamie Dixon's a fantastic coach. That game, a little trickier than I thought initially into the season, and that is in Fort Worth. But they're projected to win by 10. Arizona State at McHale, projected to win by 19. UCF in Central Florida, projected to win by 9. That one's a little bit of a trap game, because you have to travel a lot, and you don't think they're very good, and they're usually pretty big. Cincinnati and West Virginia. So you're projected to win by 9 against UCF, 20 against Cincinnati, and 18 against West Virginia. I don't think it's crazy to say that Arizona starts 20-0 this season. I know it sounds crazy to say, but if you look at each game, you're going to beat Bethune-Cookman, and you're going to beat South Dakota State. You play Utah, Kansas State, TCU, Arizona State, UCF, Cincinnati, West Virginia before a clash against BYU, and I'll be at that game. I think Arizona could start 20-0. And if you start 20-0, that's not far off from what Arizona's top of the line record was supposed to be, right? Like everyone said 21-10, and I scoffed at them. So I'm taking a slight victory lap right there. My light just went off, as you guys can see. Trying to fix that as we're on the air. Well, so be it. Anyway, we will continue nonetheless. Lights out. Not the shooting from Arizona today. Not lights out. Anyway, long story short, I think Arizona starts 7-0. And if you go, let's just say 500 the rest of the way, 500 ball, which Arizona absolutely should after starting 7-0, you end up the season, let's say they're a game over 500 the rest of the way. 7-0 is 7 games you got the rest of the way, and you end up with 27 wins, 26 wins before conference tournament. And that's a very, very good basketball team. And I think you could be even better than that. So let's preview the rest of the schedule just for the sake of it. So let's say you're 7-0 after playing West Virginia. Then there's BYU, Arizona State, Oklahoma State, Kansas, Texas Tech, BYU, Houston, Baylor, Kansas, Iowa State, Colorado. Gauntlet. Arizona right now, according to KenPom, is projected 28-3. And right now is 11-0. So that means there's 20 games left, and they're projected to go 17-3. I don't think that's crazy at all. By the way, KenPom was very low in Arizona coming into the year, 21-10. I was 26-5 was what I projected before the season. For those of you everydayers, you'll believe me. For those of you who are joining now, you may have to track that one through the annals of history, and it is true. But my point being is, analytics like Arizona an awful lot. I don't think they'll go 15-3 in conference play, but I think they'll definitely be close. And I think they'll be in between 16-2 and 12-6. And I don't think you're going to lose before then. So at the worst, you're going 25-6. And that's a 1 or a 2 seed. Arizona basketball is for real. And I don't need to tell you that. But right now, they've proven they can win any different style. They'll be tested against the best of the best. And they have tons of room to grow because they play a ton of freshmen and have great veterans who can step up, accept their roles, and star in the roles like Tobe Awaka, like Anthony Del Orso, and of course, the intrepid point guard leader, Jaden Bradley. Well, that'll do it on Postcast. Arizona wins by 23 against San Diego State in a game that did not terribly impress, but I believe Arizona has a chance to win 26-plus games and be a 1 seed in March because of games like this. Because when they play badly, they can still beat you by 20, and that's the sign of a fantastic basketball team. Thanks for tuning in. Coming up next week, I'll go over this game a little bit more and also preview the games coming up. And, of course, touch on the Holiday Bowl coming up for the Arizona football team. Thanks for tuning in to Locked On Wildcats Postcast. Leif Thulin signing off. Bear down once again. Arizona by 23 over the Aztecs of San Diego State.